Where do you see us in 20 years?
I don't understand.
I can see us happily married one day. With 2, maybe 3 kids. In a 5-bedroom house with a fireplace we'll never use. And a chocolate Labrador named Nordstrom.
Yeah, I can't even think about marriage.
Calm down. Neither am I, but indulge me a little bit here. I've given us enough consideration to say I could spend the rest of my life with you.
I can't have this conversation.
You're stalling.
I'm not stalling. I just haven't given it much thought.
Really?
Really?
How does a person who never leaves anything to chance not think about his life in this way? When it comes to your illustrious career, you have long-term plans and short-term plans, retirement plans, dinner plans, lunch plans. I mean, every day of this week was planned to the hour. So given your proclivity to anal retention, what plans, if any, have you considered about us?
I don't know. Okay?
You don't know?
I don't know.
Who would know then? I mean, what idiot wouldn't know what plans they've considered in their own thought life?
Who's an idiot? Don't attack me.
You don't know whether or not at some point in your pathetic life you've given any consideration to our future together?
I've given my future a lot of consideration, but I've just never considered a future together with you.
Well, all right now.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, welcome back to the J Talks Today's Relationships Show.
Yes.
What a clip.
Yes, what a clip.
Somebody need to pick her face off the floor.
Yeah.
Let me do that again. Well.
Ooh.
All right. Okay, now that is a little something to think about to opening up
Yes.
this show. And the topic of the show today is making plans on a dream.
That's good, Jay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Making plans on a dream.
Mm-hmm.
I think they set a pretty good opening for this
Absolutely.
this topic. If it didn't come across too good, let me try to do a little scene setting here. Okay, I'm gonna ask a couple of different questions just to open up your mind just a little bit. Okay, you know, have you ever made plans in life just depending on the input of somebody else? You know, those kind of dreams. Have you ever made calculations of buying something but didn't know where the money was going to come from? You know, you only got a little bit of money.
Yeah.
But or you're making a certain amount of money.
Right.
You can't afford a Chrysler 300. You can afford one of them. What those little bitty.
You go.
Yeah, no,
back
you,
in the day,
not
you go.
But something like a you go, they be looking at them little matchbox
Oh, the little ones they got
the
out
little
now. I don't know what
matchbox
them
cars
little ones they got. Those are so cute. Yeah.
Yes, you might could afford one of them little matchbox.
Right.
But you know, you want a 300, and you keep saying you gonna get a 300. And you actually don't have the money. And but anyway, I got some more questions to ask. Have you ever claimed something to be yours, but you didn't have the proof to, to show otherwise? Like, that's my man, that's my woman.
Oh, I think that's what
As they
she
kind of
did.
show, as they kind of set the
yeah.
stage a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh my goodness.
Mm.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Making plans on the dream.
Yeah,
I think
making plans.
That's what she did.
Yeah,
Though.
she made plans on the dream.
But see, the thing about that, Jay, is that, and let me just say this at the top of the show. Men don't hardly make a mistake like that. It's usually, women, because and ladies, and and we know a lot of times when you start dating a guy, you just about know roundabout where, how your relationship with him is going to go. Now, and the reason I say that is that if you've been dating him more than a year, 2 years, or something like that, you already know just about how it's going. And if he has not, I think that's probably going to come later on in the show, Jay. You're going to discuss that with us. But if he has not made any plans to you personally, if y'all have not sat down and talked about this thing, then 9 times out of 10, he's not planning his future with you. And as a matter of fact, that's what the guy said, in the clip. Oh, he's been planning his future. He's been thinking about his future, but it just wasn't with her.
Yeah,
I mean, when you get it like that, how plain, I mean, slap. Like, yeah, I'm thinking about my future, but not with you, though.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And no doubt, 9 times out of 10, she's been the girlfriend. She's been everything. Women, y'all know how we do it. We, go ahead. I mean, full steam ahead into that thing. You everything. You doing, you doing the housewife thing. You doing all of that with the hope that he will see you in this light and change, or you think that if I'm with him long enough, then he will have a different idea about me, or a different perspective about our relationship.
Mm.
Making plans on the dream. You're dreaming of a future, like this young lady was in the movie, of a future with him, house, kids, and everything. And he has not even given it a thought, one moment thought, as to settling down. Mm-mm. That kind of thing. We need to start finding this stuff out up front, Jay. And it ain't, don't get me wrong, it ain't nothing wrong with dreaming and all of that, but you need to know when, especially if you're in a relationship, you're dating, and you're thinking about the future, but it's a good chance he may not be thinking about the future like that.
Yep, he may not be thinking about the future like that. You always find, now like they always say, you can always find the truth out the easy way or the hard way. Homegirl just found out the hard way.
Yeah, she did. I'm talking about the blatant truth. A punch in this gut punch. Because he just said, I never, like, it's done. Me and you, that's it. I ain't never thought about it like that with you. How hurtful can that be?
Well, people tend to do that, and they just we just as people. I won't say they. I've been guilty of that myself. So I say we as people tend to do that because we're so molded to do that by tradition, to be so assumable. And we just assume things that it's going to be this way. But I find it so interesting that we as human beings put the most highest act of assumption into effect or in application when it only basically deals with another human being. Now, when it has to do with like, uh, you know, our bills or something, we tend to not take that for granted. Uh, you know, not so much. We still do, but not like when it comes with the association of a relationship with another person. And we just tend that, you know, that things can be, that assumptions about people can be made factual and without actually having the facts.
Right.
You know, like this lady. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And I think, you know, it comes down to the fact that even if you have decided to be in a relationship, okay, you decided, you two together decided that you was going to be in a relationship, okay, and y'all go full steam into the relationship, you know, with the perks that come with it, moving in together, whether you move into his place or he moves into yours, and y'all live this life every day of husband and wife. You're living together, you're doing all that stuff together, and then you assume, well, for the woman, and you assume that that's what it is, and then one day he comes in and tell you that he's leaving, and then you're disgusted and hurt because you're, you know, how is it, you know, what about us, you know, and he's going, well, what about us, you know, and you've made the assumption that just because y'all have lived together, y'all living together, y'all doing everything as a married couple would do, that's what it is. And don't get me wrong, I understand that. I understand that 100%. But that's why it's more important than ever, before you make the decision to move in with him or vice versa, that you get that understanding. That's when it's important, especially when you start making important decisions like that, is to get that understanding of what, you know, okay, how are we going to be? Okay, yes, we're moving in together. Okay, but are you looking, is this going to be something that we can look forward to in the future of us being together? And if that's the case, then you need to understand, okay, well, do you plan to marry me? Do we plan to get married? You know, but you have that kind of conversation before all of this take place.
Right. Yeah, you gotta have all those conversations before it all takes place. Just like, you know, folk they see something that they, you know, the same thing, same principle as you have some money in your pocket, and somebody might owe you some money, right? They owe you some money. So you see something in the store, you know that what you actually have in your pocket is actually enough to pay a bill. But you see something in the store and you start calculating, well, you know, Big Joe owed me $30, and I see something in the store that, you know, that's like $28. So you know, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and spend this money, even though I got this bill that's pressing me right now, and because Big Joe owed me some money, I'm just gonna go and get it from him.
Right.
But you don't know at the time that you go to try to get the money from Big Joe,
Right.
if he actually had the money on him to get it from him.
Yeah.
But you done made a move and went and spent the money with the calculation or assuming that Joe has got the money and that Joe is in all honored position going to pay you that money at the time you wanting or requesting that money.
Yeah.
So, and so therefore it puts you in the place of making decisions upon a dream. And because you have no facts, you didn't check with Joe first. You know, if you had to check with Joe first, basically it said, okay, hey Joe, you know that money, that $30 you owe me? I'm really needing it right now.
Right.
Can you give it to me? Because I'm it's something I need to do.
Yeah.
And if they say yes, then that's the green light. Go ahead and buy the stuff you see in the store. Then head over to Joe's house. Or maybe you might want to go on to Joe's house to make sure, because things can still change.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking about this clip. Is that because what it sounds like? I actually watched the movie, listeners, but it's amazing because what it sounds like is that she never had this conversation with him until now.
No, she never had the conversation with him, and just like many relationships, of all kinds, of all kinds, even business. You see some people going into business who don't discuss all the factors, some important factors of going into the business relationship. Wait until they actually get involved instead of pre-discussing and finding out where everybody the position is, and then you go into it and find out it's going to be much more of a headache than what you thought it was going to be. And I find it so funny that because when self makes an assumable act and find out that it's not materializing in the way that they have impressionably made it a fact that it would, they wind up getting all bent out of shape and mad like sister did. Gonna call him stupid and everything. Because he didn't sit down and make plans for them like she made plans for them.
Right. Yes. But see, he was letting her know, but then she knew this because she started telling him, okay, you make plans short and long term goals for your future. You make plans for this. You make plans for lunch. You make plans for dinner. But how is it that you're with me? And the movie doesn't say how long they've been together, which is interesting. But you haven't made plans for us. But then more so than that, not only had he not made plans, he said he never thought about it. About them like that. How, heart-wrenching is that? He said, I never even thought about, a future between, with us. OMG. Like, really? I know, and that's why she was so, that's enough to devastate you. You know that the person that you're with is saying, I never even thought about a future with you. Okay, well, why am I doing all this? I'm doing all of this, and you never thought about us like that. That's I'm telling you, if that ain't a blow for you ladies, I don't know what is. That's why it's important. Start having these conversations. Start talking. Ask some questions. At least if you know where you stand, then you can make the decision from there. If you choose, if you're going to stay with them knowing what you know, or if you're going to bow out. But at least, let that be on you. Let that be on you.
Right. And as you were just saying, the investments, I'm talking more general terms, but the investments that we make, if you make an investment, wouldn't it be important to know what the contract that you're signing your name on, because it could be a lemon deal. Y'all hear how I said that? It could be a lemon deal that you're getting involved in, and you better check out all the fine prints. In other words, ask questions, look it over, fine tune it, comb it with a fine tooth comb. Make sure all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted, so that exactly where you yourself are placing yourself in the position of that you're involving yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
That also applies to couple relationship, love relationship, not only business. I mean, I'm talking, in a general term, so that just hopefully whoever's listening will understand that we cannot be so closed-minded that even though when we say relationships, it's not just only a love relationship with a
Right.
couple or husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. Relationships is dealing with anybody you have in contact with. So, a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, couples. Yes, they come in contact with each other, but we also come in contact with many other people on different basis. But the application is still the
It's
same.
still the same.
It's
yeah.
still the same, and even though people tend to only focus on their downtroddenness or their disturbance in life or disappointments in life, seemingly be mostly in couple or loving relationships. Well, I don't know why we tend to omit that we can get just as downtrodden and just as disappointed
In
and
relationship.
in failed business relationships, failed family relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and many times most of that is due to an assumable association
Yeah.
with that person without any definition.
Without and that's good, Joe.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
um,
Without any definition.
yeah, without any definition.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's another part in this particular movie. I don't have that clip for you, but I'll share it with you. In this movie, there's another part that kind of relates to the subject. That there are two brothers. Well, they thought they were brothers. One was adopted, and was never told that he was never a blood part of the family, and he always assumed that he was until one day he found out,
Right.
and abruptly that made things so sour with with the adopted boy, with the whole rest of the family, and
Right.
he distanced himself because he always had the assumption
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
he was blood
Yes.
until he actually found out the truth.
Yeah.
The truth.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And so that, I mean, even with families, I mean, it could go on and on, different types of areas, but and then when it comes down to couple relationships, we use these metaphors, and I find this so interesting. I wish I had a violin right now. you know, you know, that nice little violin,
Yes.
Italy music,
Yeah.
But yeah, I find it so interesting in these particular metaphors in relationships. I'm talking more couple or loving relationships. That and I can say factually, I have heard it being said more than just a few times. I've heard it being said many times. And maybe when I say this, it just might be confirmed in your thoughts. Okay. But many times what folk have said is that is that if the sex is good, then they must really love me. Cause they can't make love to me that well if they ain't in love with me. I've heard it said, folks. I don't know if anybody agree with that, but and yeah, they'll say, "Oh, baby, you must be in love with me, cause love me so good." I'm just saying.
Jay.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
All right, but then, because remember what you feed your mind. It's like one part of your mind feeds another part of your mind. All right, and because it's all in your head, where all it takes place. One part deceives another part of your mind. That's so interesting. Because remember, what you say to yourself, and as a thinker, so you become. Right?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, Jay. As
So,
you think, so that you become.
Yeah, so you become.
Okay.
So, one part of your mind is saying to yourself and thinking in a way that the other part of your brain is dictating to your body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And dictating to your body and telling it how to operate and relate to and put yourself out there to the rest of the world. Oh.
Okay, Jay.
So the greatest mind game that's played is the game you play with yourself, I guess.
Well, I mean that is true. That is true. But now, why this topic is so important to me is because it's important for women to understand. If you know that you have plans for your future, for a relationship, marriage, whatever you want to go in, it needs to be made known with whoever it is that you're dating. It needs to be made known now. I'm not talking about if y'all just met, then y'all shouldn't be having this conversation right now. But for those of you that are listening, that are in a relationship, in a long-term relationship, and ladies, that this is what your goal is. That this is what you want for your life. It's time to start having that conversation right now. Because as women, I know, we put a lot of ourselves, into our relationship, whether it's the relationship with, between man and woman, mother, whatever. We always put a lot of ourselves into the relationship. And as a woman, when you're in a relationship, I mean, none of that is different. You continue to do that. And so you want to know that what you're doing is going to profit you if this is what you're looking for your future. If you want to be a wife and have this home set up the way you want, then find that out right now if that's what he's looking at. If he tells you that, I like being with you, I like us being together, but I don't know, and that that's not what you're looking for, don't wait to see, okay, well, I'm just going to stick around and see if he's going to change his mind, or, let him see how good of a woman I am. If he has not decided that and he's told you that that's not what his decision, that's not where his mind is, then maybe you need to, second guess your relationship.
All right. Second guess it, you say?
Think about it again. You probably need to do some research. Look, some redoing.
All right. Some
redoing of your relationship. Yeah.
All right. I guess I think like a man. Men make decisions. Like maybe you need to make some decisions.
Well, yeah, make some decisions.
Yeah. All right. Well, what is it? Women are for Venus and men are for Mars.
Something like that.
Something like that. Yep. Well, that's what they say. But anyway, what we have to do is do this one particular thing. Not lie to ourselves.
Yeah.
Just that one particular thing. Do not lie to yourself, which we do so very often. We do as people. If anybody would admit it, we do. Now, how often, what percentage? But we do. Somewhere along the line, we do. About something. It's going to be about something. We don't know what it might be. It could be about, your finances. It could be about anything. It could be about your kids. All my kids ain't that bad. And your kids could be going to school, tearing up the classroom. Bullying everybody, come back to my, hey mama. Just saying.
Making plans on a dream, Jay.
Yeah, making plans on the dream.
I must say, that I'm guilty of that. Have been guilty of it. But I think what we're talking about, and hopefully, this the listening audience, will hear this, that when you're younger, that type of thing, you learn everything is a process. But as you get older, for those that are of us that are older and more mature, this is something. I mean, because when you get a certain age, you just look. It's cut and dry. It should be. Well, for me, cut and dry. Well, what are your plans? What do you want to do? Where do you see yourself? Where do you see us? Especially if you're in a dating situation. I need to know this. I mean, because I don't want to, hold you up. I don't want you. I'm not gonna let you hold me up. If this is something that I want to do, then that's my choice. But at least if I know, then I can make the decision that I want to make for my life. So I'm saying, women, think about that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. Where you want to be, what you want to do, what you want to. All right. Well, I guess this show is kind of going a lot out to women. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Kind of like. Well,
yeah.
men do the same thing. Men make.
I know, Jay.
They make it. Yeah,
not as far as
not as bad as women now. Not as bad as women, but yeah, they do. Men do. I'll tell you how men make this kind of action, with this action forth, and I'm going to say this in regards to couple loving relationships. Mm-hmm. Okay, what men tend to do, many times, they'll hook up with a girl or a woman. Okay, and they'll tend to just assume. I mean, they'll go out with a woman one time, might buy her a Happy Meal, and because they bought a Happy Meal, that they own her.
For a Happy Meal.
I'm just metaphorically saying, but I know everybody like. Ain't no Negro gonna just take me out for a Happy Meal. I think he gonna own me for a Happy Meal. Gonna take a couple of Red Lobster meals and other. But anyway, I'm just, just basically saying. In other words, what I'm saying, I have seen many men, males who have gone out and spent any amount of money, any amount. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it's a Happy Meal amount. Mm-hmm. I've seen them with $5 on a woman, and they tend to put claims on that woman. Mm-hmm. And y'all might have went out, and the next day you see this same woman out with another guy. What you doing with my woman? Who you with? Mm-hmm. Who was that I saw you talking to? And the girl be like, well, why you tripping? We only went out one time.
Right. But overall, Jay, and I know that does happen, with some men, but for the most part, it's women that take on that. For the most part, it is us, because it is in our nature to be establish the home, especially if mama, auntie, big mama, and all them was around, and you saw as a young girl growing up, it's just innocent. And we want that for the most part. Women want that. We want that. You know, so when you're talking about a future and a relationship, it's nothing wrong with that. But if you know that that's what you want, don't waste, you know, all of the time that you're going to invest in a relationship to a man that doesn't want that. That doesn't want that with you. You know, and that's where I mean, you know, I made that mistake. Really did. Made that same mistake. You know, we invest so much, give so much into a put so much into a relationship, and then it doesn't, you know, it doesn't turn out the way, you know, you want it. And then next thing you know, years are gone by. You know, years have gone by, and that's kind of hurtful when you can find all of this out in the beginning stages. If you know, ladies, and I can't say it enough, if you know that this is what you want, if you know this is what you want for your future, then you need to ask these questions in the beginning. Ask the questions in the beginning and find out.
Mm-hmm. Another thing is, I that was stated in that clip. Here she started describing,
Yeah.
you know, what her plans for her life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the rest of her life.
Mm-hmm.
She said, here's what, in order, pretty much the order she said, being married to him.
Yeah.
All right. You haven't even, y'all haven't even sound from the rest of the conversation, especially when he hit that hard blow.
Yeah.
That he hadn't even thought about any plans.
Marrying her.
So evidently, he must not have even showed you or shown you any type of action, like, you know, he might propose to you, or you know, or he, you know, or anything. He hasn't shown you, and probably, and from the conversation, seems to implicate that he hasn't even discussed. Y'all haven't even had a conversation until now about anything possibly being in the future, and you done jump from dating to being married to him.
Yeah. And you know, and another thing I saw, Jay, was both of them were shocked at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both of them were shocked at the same time, because he like, for real, we having this conversation? I ain't even thought about it. Right. And she like, for real, we having this conversation and you haven't? Really?
Yeah. Right. So that's why I said, you know, he asked, you know, having this conversation, like they ain't never had that conversation. All right. And so the other thing, the second thing after the plans of being married to him, which she had no idea where his position was with her, and the only thing that she truthfully knew is that at least their time together, the amount of the time that they spend together, they enjoyed each other. But that doesn't give weight to and confirmation to anything that leads to it. Only confirms just only that you enjoy each other in the space and time that you are with each other. That's, you don't need plans to enjoy each other. That's just an act. You don't need plans. Like, you know, okay, I'm going to plan that in 5 hours that I'm going to have a good time with this person, and they're going to fit into this plan. All right? Because even that's unexpected. Every time you meet is unexpected how the turnout is going to be. How can I say that factually? Okay. If how many times have we come in contact with a person and never knew that it might turn into a fallout? Never had the expectation that it was going to turn into a fallout. All right? See, that's the proof right there that you don't know when you meet, what the outcome is going to be. You only know that after
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
meet and then summarize what the outcome was.
Mhm.
And then either appreciate it or reject it.
Right.
That okay? Um, so you can't really make plans on your activities or your when you meet because you really never know.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
There could be, you get together, it might be smiling, having fun. One word out of the way, because you might, just one word could set it off.
Yeah. 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 But you know what's even more interesting? I'm telling you, listeners, pull the movie up and watch it. It's very interesting. But what's even more interesting was the fact that, and this is what I thought about. She did not know too much about his life before him and her got together.
That's correct.
Okay, because as you see later on in the movie, it indicates that. But she didn't, and so I'm like, so what was their conversation like? What, really, what were they talking about? I mean, because the important stuff was not known until as a matter of fact, they had split up when she found out this bit of information as to why he initially did not want to be with her. It wasn't until after the relationship was over, after he told her, I ain't never considering you as my wife or future with you. It wasn't until way after the fact that she realized why that was. You know, and that's interesting because, so you might be saying, okay, well, Debbie, what are you saying? What are you getting to? What are you talking about during those times that you and your intended are together? I mean, what are you talking about? If you just talking about on the surface stuff, and don't get me wrong, that's good. But at some point in time, y'all need to go deep with this conversation. I mean, you ain't got to ask him how many women he was with before you, but you might need to find out what kind of person he was before he met you. That may give him some indication as to where you're gonna fit in his life now.
Yeah, and there is such a thing as, court uses it all the time. Witness testimony.
Witness testimony.
Background check.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not talking about the cat that you're looking for criminal record.
Right.
Sometimes you have to be your own investigator.
Yeah.
Because come on, folks, we got to get real. There's a real world that we wake up to every day. There are folk that have wake up just like you see this. And it's not the first time something like this has happened, where the man went and killed his whole family.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And that he was in jail before, and why he was in jail before was because of something, that he did similar to this.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So and this woman this woman married this guy and had kids by this guy.
Yeah.
And then he basically pulls pretty much the same act again.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And but actually worse.
No, he did.
It was actually worse.
Right. Yeah.
And here in all these years, she really never took the time to know the background check. Okay. All right. Witness testimony. When I say that, that's like getting with his family, in-laws, listen to what they say about him. Anybody he might have had. Now, you have to be careful when you talk about exes. Ex relationships or ex-wives, ex-husbands. You have to be careful still and use some good sense, because some folk, just like in court, you have some folk that go on the witness stand, in the stand, and lie in court, okay, and perjure themselves. They go in there and lie. They tell an untruthful testimony. So just because they say they're a witness or they even on the witness list does not always make them a valid witness. Okay, you have to know how to weed and not just take whatever it is and run with it, because you may make some false decisions that could have a very strong impact on your life and everybody else's life around
Absolutely.
you. So,
Absolutely.
but it is worth the time sometimes
Yes.
to get witness
Yes.
testimony. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, witness testimony.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
use that as a measurement to
Mhm.
see if you see the same signs.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you can tell. You can even if a person's lying, you can tell if the person is giving testimony is lying, because or if they're telling the truth, because if they're telling the truth, you will see certain signs. And I'm not beating up on anybody, but I'm just
Right.
I'm just gonna say, just as we're seeing in this political race, if this is 2016, and this show is being broadcast in October 2016, which is leading up to the presidential candidate election. And there is one candidate, and I'm not being picky, but I'm just saying, based upon the presentation of facts, okay? This particular candidate, Donald Trump, has made him put himself in the position of that. His allegations is not really against Hillary Clinton, but against Bill Clinton, who was supposed to be a womanizer and all, and taking advantage of women and all that. But Bill Clinton is not running for the presidency. Okay. However, Donald Trump is, and him as the candidate, who has shown a history of being a womanizer and taking advantage of women, and degrading women, a history.
Yeah.
All right. When witnesses come and give testimony to the alleged acts that I said alleged, because they still have to go in court to actually prove that. But alleged acts that he supposedly did to them, it's not too hard to believe when there's already an existing background check of established proof of actions similar to what the witnesses. So you tend to believe what the witnesses say. Now, if there wasn't a background of history, it would make it a little hard.
Absolutely.
Right. That's why I said. So sometimes witness testimony it helps.
Right.
Sometimes it helps just to see what the exes might have to say, and then measure it up to see with what the family of the person has to say, in-laws of the family, best friends, if they got any that hang around them, might have to say, oh yeah, they got an anger problem.
Right.
So but as you were saying, I kind of strayed off a little bit. I'm come back into the light, Jay. Come back into the light. All right. But yeah, as you were saying, Debbie, they what did they talk about? All this time they were together, they apparently didn't talk about much or nothing. Probably had a lot of fun sexually on this case. Like I said earlier, many people who use this reference, and they must be in love with me because they can make love to me really good. So you have, and I honestly have had people make this statement saying that if they ain't making love good, then apparently they ain't loving me as part of the measurement of how much they love me. Or you cannot make or sex somebody really good unless they're in love with you. And I have to say, I'm gonna say point blank, I'm gonna quit wasting time on that one. Folks,
Careful.
if you really are considering that, you have really deceived yourself. Um, just like they say, um, to assume the measurement of a man in comparison is by their feet and their hands. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know.
Oh,
Y'all,
really?
I don't have to go into detail. I think y'all know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Or that because of a certain race that they're
Right.
gifted.
Yeah.
Okay. You know.
Right.
So I'm just saying, you are deceiving yourself, and to predicate on those kind of thoughts. I am a witness to this, that I've seen two people way back in my younger, very wild days, and I say way young. I mean, and coming fresh out of high school and stuff.
Oh,
all
yeah,
right,
it's young.
yeah, young. Yeah. I have seen this at a wild party. You know how
How
you
wild was it, Jay?
you know where you go to these.
Yeah.
Back in those days, we would have clean. Well, not nobody shooting each other and stuff.
Mhm.
Like they do now
Yeah.
at a house party and stuff. They would still, they still be wild and crazy, but
Mhm.
as what grown folks would say. All right. But I actually witnessed with my own eyes how two, a male and a female, who could not stand each other. I mean, in school they talked about it so bad, how
Yeah.
bad they couldn't stand each other.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say they actually purely said had to hate
Wow.
they had each other for each other.
Wow.
However, this what proved this to me. The state that kills this statement that we say, that person that has to be in love with you, has to like you or something to be able to. They had gotten so drunk
Mhm.
that they had slipped off into a room.
Mhm.
Okay, and it's like on one of them movies comedy movies you see, where the two people who didn't like each other wake up in the same
Oh,
bed
yeah.
and wake up sober, and then
Right.
they just like you start
Right.
screaming. Okay,
Mhm.
well, that was pretty much this case, and they came out of the room. We all kind of knew what they were doing.
Mhm.
All right, but they came out of the room finally, going at it, fighting, going at it, right, going at it. But we knew what they were in the room doing,
Right.
and they confessed to that.
Right.
But they confessed, like the girl went to her girlfriend and was like, still talking about how much she couldn't stand him.
Uh-huh.
But then made the comment that was some great sex.
Okay.
But the guy came to the guys
Mhm.
saying the same exact words,
Mhm.
saying that was the best he ever had.
Mhm.
Now, then, if that's the case, that two people who couldn't stand each other can make a claim that they
Yeah.
have great sex,
Yeah.
that actually is evidence to
Mhm.
say, I mean, come on, I hope y'all listening.
Yeah.
Folk, y'all listening.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of metaphors that we tend to say to ourselves that tends to put us in a position of creating these dreams and making plans upon dreams
Yeah.
because of metaphors.
What Jay? I'm just gonna tell you, I had not heard that one right there. I mean, honestly, I hadn't heard that. But let me just say this: there are some people, be it a man or a woman, that's who they are. That's what they do. I mean, you got some people that think that mind, body, and soul, that's where they are. Sexually. Like, I mean, anybody else can't handle them. They go after that. That's what they living their life for. The fact that oh, I'm good. And so to say that, I mean, I would have to agree with you on the comment that you just made, that don't have to be, because you got some people that just, that's just who they are. You know, I'm like this sexually, and they'll let you know. And most of the time they'll let you know, but other than that, so no, you can't. But it's been times, I mean, Jay, let's just say this. For the most part, women that's making love to you the way you want, they get stuck right there. For the most part. I'm not saying it's all the way true, but for the most part, because you have made up in your mind, especially if you love them, and you want to be with them, but then you need to find that out, I mean, and see if that's what it is. I mean, because you know how much the sex has kept somebody bound. I mean, I'm not saying it's just all women, because it does happen to me, but they have been bound, by the sex.
Right.
So you have to be careful of that too. Because just because, I mean, you getting the sex that you want, don't mean, I mean, because the relationship don't have to be. I mean,
Right.
the relationship, it may not be good for you and this person to be together like that.
And I don't, and just let the audience know, listeners know. The reason I brought that up is because, like, as you were saying, Debbie, well, if they're not having conversation, then what is it that she's predicating on to make it think that everything's so happy-go-lucky to lead toward? And if it's not conversations, it got to be something else. Okay, all right. So it's in the time they enjoy. And if they're not conversating in the time that they're together, that they're enjoying, then what are they enjoying?
What is keeping you?
Right,
What is keeping you?
Right. Yeah. So evidently, when I keep minimizing and inching away at stuff, it leaves. It must been the sex must have been enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying.
Right.
That's why I was talking about that.
Yeah. And it's funny because I was watching the show last night on Lifetime, and it was actually portraying the rap group NWA, their life and how they came, came up and everything. And the female rapper during that time, her name was Miss LA. She was the big Dr. Dre and all them. She actually, her and Dr. Dre actually had a relationship together. But anyway, this is the point I'm getting at. It was documenting, her life, and she was actually telling the story herself. She was actually telling the story while the movie was playing. And Dr. Dre was very abusive to her, which I didn't know, I'm talking about, I ain't just talking about a little slap. I'm talking about punch, kick, I mean, the whole 9 yards. And she was she was saying, even talking in the movie, and was saying, why did I stay? I know y'all asking, why did I stay in this relationship? And she made me, these were her words. She said, because the sex was good and because of the money. And so her girlfriend that was actually in the movie was saying, you gonna stay in this? Just because you want to live this lifestyle? And so at that time, somewhere in her mind, she thought that, I want this lifestyle, so this is what's gonna come with it. So what I'm saying is that everything at some point in time comes along with a price. But then after that, she got with Suge Knight. That's what I didn't know. She got with Suge Knight.
And she already saw what he was like.
Right. Yeah. And had a baby by him. She's got a baby by Dre, and she's got a baby by Suge Knight. And I'm like, really? You went from bad to worse, And in the movie, it showed that Suge hit her one time, backhand her, and I think he broke her jaw or something like that. I'm like, and then these were her words in the movie that she said, that Suge said to her, I guess you are too little for me to be hitting on. Okay, now she's 4'11", something like that. Suge 10 feet tall, about 400 pounds.
Big old gorilla.
Big old, And so his words were to her, yeah, I guess you too little for me to be hitting on. And then she was like, okay, thank you. I'm like, for real? I'm like really for real? But the point we're making is that, I went off somewhere, with that, but I'm saying a lot of times just because that's what you want don't mean it's good for you. Yeah. You better find out.
Making dreams.
Yeah.
Making dreams. I mean, plans on a dream.
Yeah.
Huh? Making plans upon a dream.
Making plans on a dream.
We up on a star.
Yeah. Rolls Royce. That's my song too. I like that.
Yep. But now don't get us wrong. We're not on here badgering. We're our show is intended, hopefully, that might provide some direction. We're just saying, just kind of wake up a little bit. Wake up a little bit. Because you only have one day at a time. And even right now, it's the only day you have. Can't go back in time. And you don't know if you're going to live tomorrow.
Right.
So you only have the day. So wouldn't it be just a little wise to at least plan upon one dream that you know can be certain is only what you can do for yourself, with yourself, and to yourself, because that's the only dream you can fulfill, is the one that self can only fulfill, because you don't know what the other person can fulfill.
That's true.
I mean, they can say a lot. Now, if they do, then you can be grateful for it.
Yeah.
But you cannot expect that because you don't know. And you only know it when it happens. And that's all I'm just saying. You only know it will be fulfilled when it's fulfilled.
Yeah, Jay. So, I mean, making plans on a dream. There's nothing wrong with dreaming, but make sure you got, those look, everything, some things definite before you actually go into the dream. I mean, that just pretty much sums up what you just said, Jay.
Right.
Be sure.
Yeah, be sure. You can't plan. You can't make soul plans for another person. You can make soul plans for yourself. You can invite and share plans with another person. All right? But you can't make soul plans upon another person except for self. All right? So hopefully this show might have encouraged somebody, helped somebody. I don't know. But we'd like to hear your feedback. Comment on any of the media forums that we're on. We'd like to see your comments. And look for the media forums. We'd like for you to rate our show. And, we'd like to know what you think about our show. And as we're moving more and more closer, trying to get to that FM broadcasting, so you can listen to us in your cars. I mean, you could do that now, with all the media and technology that's out there now, even though we're web broadcast. All right, so we just want to sign on out.
Bye-bye.
All right, we're making plans upon this dream. We got to go. That's the dream. We got to go. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.